What's up, you data friends? It's Yanis here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a publicly available dataset for coronavirus, write some Python code in order to clean that data and transform the data, and then create this Power BI visual from scratch that shows the evolution of coronavirus by date. So if we click play now, we can see the cumulative numbers per date. So we show the confirmed cases, recovered cases, and the deaths. We can also see the date that this play refers to, the number of days included in these cumulative numbers, the confirmed cases, total deaths, total recoveries. We also have a breakdown by state, so you can see how this changes over time. Then we have a map here where we can see the confirmed number of cases. Again, this is cumulative and you can see how more dots appear on the map as we go on. And then down here, we have the actual numbers per date, not the cumulative. We can also do things like selecting a specific country and running the evolution, or excluding China, for example, just because China takes about 80% of the data and it skews the size of the bubbles. So now we can see different sizes. And if we click play now, we can see the evolution of coronavirus per date outside of China and see how this trend changes over time in the map. Right, before we start with the code, if you're new to my channel and you're passionate about data science, I would really appreciate it if you click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. Right, starting with the raw data, I'm going to have a link in the description from where you can download the raw data from Johns Hopkins University GitHub repository. The code now, I'm going to have the whole Python notebook posted in my GitHub page. But for those who want to actually write it and understand it, I have explained all the steps up until here in my previous video, which I'm going to have the link in the description. The only new thing for this video is this piece of code down here, which I'm going to explain in this video. Right, so in the previous video, we've created this data frame over here that has the state, the country, then the date, and then the cumulative numbers, and then the daily numbers that fits the main summary report we've created in the previous video. So now we want to take this data frame and write a for loop that goes by date, and each date it saves the data for that date and before in a new data frame. For example, it's going to start on the 22nd of January and it's going to save that data in the new data frame. Then on the 23rd of January, it's going to save that data, the 22nd and the 23rd, in a new data frame. Then for the 24th, it's going to save the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th in the new data frame, etc., etc. To do this, the first thing I do is that I select the distinct dates and I save those in a list. Then I make the list as a data frame in order to be able to order the data frame by date. It's very important that our dates are in order. Then I convert the data frame back to a list in order to be able to loop through it. Then what I'm doing down here is that I am deleting the two data frames that I'm about to create down here. But the reason I delete them, I try to delete them before I create them, is just in case I want to rerun these multiple times and avoid having duplication. So our for loop says for I in dates, and this I is going to be the first value that we have in dates. And the first value that we have in dates is actually the 22nd of January. So for I in dates, new data equals, select everything from our data frame, so the final data frame we've created, where the date value, so we have date over here, equals that I. So this is only going to select the data for the 22nd of January. Then it adds a new column called cumulative date and it sets it as I. Then we print the I, which is the date. So this is what we have when we print it. And then we say try concatenate these two tables together. However, sorry, data frames, not tables. However, because this concat data does not exist yet, this is going to throw an error, and from try is going to go straight to except. And except is going to say set this concat data equals with the new data. and the new data is just all the data we have from our final data frame, that the date equals I. So it's going to be all the data for the 22nd of January. Moving on to the next I now, which is going to be the 23rd of January, we say new data equals, select everything from our full join, which is this data frame over here, where the date equals the 23rd. Then we go down to try, and this time we already have concat data, which we have created from before, that only has data for the 22nd of January, and we concatenate it with our new data, which has data for the 23rd. And then we create a new cumulative date column, which is called cumulative date 2, and we set it to I. And this I is going to be the 23rd. So in this column that we have the 23rd, actually, if I select the distinct concatenate dates, is both the 22nd and the 23rd. As you can see, I have printed it down here. So now concat data has 2 days worth of data. Then we move on into try, and we say final concat data, which is a new data frame, equals concatenate final concat data, which is not existing yet. So this is going to throw an error, and it's going to go straight to except, and it's going to say that the final concat data equals our concat data that we have up here. So final concat data now has data for the 22nd and the 23rd. Moving on to our next time now, which is going to be the 24th of January, as I have printed it over here. We set the new data to be equals everything from this data frame where the date equals 24th. And then down here, we are combining or concatenating, then concat data and the new data. So concat data, if you remember, has data for dates 22nd and 23rd. And we combine it with the 24th. So now, if we print the unique dates of this new data frame now, as you can see down here that I have printed them, we have data for the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. Then we go down to try now, and because this final concat data exists, it's going to run find the first statement, which says concatenate the final concat data, which if you remember, it has data for the 22nd and the 23rd, with the concat data, which now has data for the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So what I'm doing is that I'm taking this data frame that has data for these 2 dates, and I'm unioning or concatenating or adding to it additional data, duplicate data that has data for the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th. So each time this while loop runs, it's going to keep inserting in our data frame duplicate values for the next date and the days before that. And at the end, when we finish with all the dates, we end up with 243,000 rows and 14 columns. The next step will be to export the data in a new CSV file and then call it whatever you want, but I call it cumulative test, which is going to be different than the one we've exported in the previous video. Then you want to go into Power BI, go back to data, click on Get Data, Excel, click on All Files, and then go to the directory where you outputted that data, where you saved it, and then select it, which is going to be the cumulative test over here. You click Open, and then you click on Load. I'm not going to click Load because I have already loaded this. So now, if you check your tables over here on the right, you should have 2 tables. The first one fits the first summary page where we have created in the first video, and the second one is the one we have just created, which is going to fit the evolution of coronavirus. And just to confirm a few numbers here, where we have the cumulative date 2, if we filter the 23rd now, for example, we should only have data for the 22nd and the 23rd. So if we check the date over here, you can see that we have data for the 22nd and the 23rd. If we select the 24th, for example, then we should have data for 22, 23, and 24. The next step now will be to go back to the main summary report we have created in the previous video, right click on the main summary and click on duplicate page. So this is going to create another page, as you can see down here, which is exactly the same as the main summary. And what you want to do here is to delete everything we don't need. So you want to keep everything, all of our slices and everything from the main summary. Then you want to delete everything else apart from the state breakdown. So this table over here, and then the cumulative line graph we have down here. And so literally just click on stuff and click delete, as I'm doing it over here. And then you want to rescale everything to look like the evolution of coronavirus report over here. So put the map a bit down, then take the graph we have, put it on the top left, then readjust and rescale the main summary numbers we have on the right, and then do the same for the table which has the state breakdown. The next step is to delete this month and year slicer we have at the top and readjust the slicers to be looking like this. And now we want to switch all the values in this dashboard in the evolution of coronavirus to be coming from the second table, the one we have just created, and not the first table. So we click on date, you will see date over here, and you want to change the date coming from the first table, so from here, to be coming from the second table we have just created. Also, you want to change the title of date to be cumulative date, because this is actually the cumulative date. Then we want to switch country and region coming from the first table to the second table. Same case with province and state. And then this cumulative date play is actually a custom visual, so you will have to import it from the store. So you click on these three dots over here, you click on import from App Store, then you click here on search, you type in play, you click enter, and then you will see this play access over here, and you want to click on add, and it's actually going to add it down here. So you click on it, and then into fields, you want to drag the cumulative date 2, which is the new column we have just created in our for loop. Then you want to create this card that says date on play. And in order to create this card, you can either copy paste the one next to it, copy paste, and then change the count of day to be the earliest cumulative date 2. So you drag this in, or you can just create a new card from scratch and readjust the colors. Next, you want to change the number of days to be coming from the second table again, and then you want to add this note over here, which is very, very important. You just click on the text box over here, and you can type into a text box now, but I have already done it. So this is saying that the numbers below will be wrong if not used with the cumulative date play per day. And what this means is that because I'm not running a specific date now, and I have lots of duplication in my dataset, these numbers are completely wrong. However, if I use it on play, so the numbers we see now, they are actually correct. And if you want to see the latest numbers, you can either click play and wait for it until it goes into 47, or you can go into the main summary and see the actual numbers. Then you want to click on this visual, which is actually going to be the visual we said we want to keep. So this visual down here, and you want to switch all the values of this visual coming from the second table. So confirm from here, the date from here, and then recover, and then the deaths from here. Next, you want to go into the shapes, and you want to select the scroll down where it says confirm, and then you want to add the stroke into 1. You want to set the marker size to be 9, the shape to be the circle, and the color to be this color over here. Then you can scroll up, and you want to change the confirm into recoveries. You want to change, again, add the stroke, you want to put the marker to be in this square over here, the size to be 8, and the color to be this green over here. And the last point will be to change the depths, and then you want to have the marker shape now to be this one. You want to add the stroke of 1, and you want to change the color into a red color from here. Next, you want to clearly label your y-axis. So you go into y-axis and you click on show title, and then you put the axis title to be cumulative numbers. And this is actually very important, so people don't confuse these numbers, the cumulative numbers, with the actual day-to-day numbers and assume that coronavirus cases are going up exponentially. Then for these fields we have over here is the same story. So you will need to switch them from the first table into the second table. So confirm daily, then the test daily, then the mortality rate, then the recovery, and then the recovery rate from table 2. Moving on, we want to do the same thing with the province and state breakdown. So we click on it and we switch all the values to be coming from the second table, as you can see, versus the first table that we had before. If you want to know how we do the conditional formatting, then you can go and watch the first video, which I show in detail how to do these 3 conditional formatting. Then for the final graph we have down here, all you have to do is copy the first graph as we have above here, paste it, and then you want to switch the values now. Let me scroll down, put it down here. So in this graph, as you can see, we have the cumulative numbers, confirm, recover, and daily. And for this one, all you want to do is to switch those values with the daily ones. So confirm daily, confirm recover daily, and then deaths daily. And then what you want to do is to go into the shapes and change the colors exactly as the colors we have above here. And the final thing you want to do is to change the title. So you go in the title, you change this into actuals and not the cumulative. And you also want to change the y-axis title from being cumulative numbers into the actual numbers per date. For our map now, the only thing I have changed is that I went into data colors and I have changed the color of South Korea, because we know South Korea has big numbers to be this orange over here. Then I have changed the color for Italy and Iran, which are the next 2 that have high numbers. So they are more visible in our map. Right, so by now, all the data that feeds the visuals in the evolution of coronavirus should be coming from the second table now and not the first table. Additionally, in terms of insights, one cool insight I found is that when I click play over here and scroll down, for good 15 days, let me scroll down so you can see. So from the 18th of February all the way up until 2 days ago, we actually had more recoveries, as you can see, than new cases. But this has actually changed. So if I stop the cumulative date play on day 46 before it resets, you can actually see that there is a crossover over here. So on the 5th of March is the date that we started seeing more cases than recoveries. And just to investigate this further, if I select China alone, just to see if China is driving this, you can actually see, let me click China and click play from the day 27 and scroll down to the daily. You can actually see that it's not going to be China. China is actually doing very well in keeping their new cases low and their recoveries going up. So you can see recovery stay up, and then I need to stop it on day 46 so we can actually visualize it. There you go. So it's not China. If we take China out now and see how that looks outside of China, so I untick China and I click play from day 22, one thing which is very cool to notice is that Diamond Princess cruise ship is actually leading the confirmed cases for a few days. So let's see, up until, I think that's the day, if I scroll back, one day more, there we go. So up until the 23rd of February, we had a cruise ship having more cases than any other country, excluding China. So this is actually not more than 2 weeks ago. And then if we click play to see what's going on, we can see that still South Korea is leading. Italy is going to start picking up, same with Iran. So you're going to see their bubbles growing. And then we also need to stop it just to see what's going on the 7th of March. So there we go. So what we get out of this graph is that China's cases are actually flat or going down, new cases. Their recoveries are going up. But outside of China, we see an increase in new coronavirus cases. Additionally, if we try and investigate the US, because we see a lot of dots there, but I think it's just misleading, because they are all like a small number of cases in a lot of different states. So if we click play now and we see how their numbers change over time, we can see from where it started, but you can see all these numbers are actually very small numbers.
Additionally, I think they took in the cruise, so we should see it appear on the map soon. There we go, so you can see it appear on the map. Let me just take it back so we can see the date. So on the 24th is where the cruise ship came in with 36 cases. And if we keep this playing to see how this changes, you can see that the sizes of these bubbles straight away went smaller. So we can see now we are picking up. So around the 5th of March is where Washington had a lot of cases. And if we keep playing this, so this is the complete numbers now. So we can see Washington is leading with the biggest bubble. Then we have New York over here. Then is the ship, and then everything else. Right, so this is it for this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed this video and you've gained enough value out of it. If you feel like you did, I would really appreciate it if you click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications. Also, maybe share this with your friends. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I will be publishing this evolution of coronavirus in the live web version I have already. So I'm going to have a link in the description. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you in the next video.